For the prayer this morning, I would like to read a prayer from the book Prayers for a Privileged People by Walter Brueggemann. And this is about Thanksgiving, so if you will bow and listen to these words. Amid football, family, and too much food, we pause quickly and without inconvenience to remember and to think. We remember ancient pilgrims who followed dreams of alabaster cities and financial opportunity. We remember hospitable First Nation people who welcomed them. We remember other family times filled with joy and filled with anxiety and old scars that are still powerful. We gather our impulse for gratitude today. Grateful to you and to our ancestors. Grateful to you for our families, our health, our government, our many possessions. We gladly affirm that all good gifts around us are sent from heaven above, but we yield to none in a sense of self-sufficiency, our wariness in needing to share, our resentfulness of those who take and do not give. Your generosity evokes our gratitude, but your generosity overmatches our gratitude. We are ready to thank, but not overly so. So we remember our achievements, our accomplishments, our entitlements, and our responsibilities that slice away our yielding of ourselves to you. So move through our half-measure thanks and let us be, all through this day, more risky in acknowledging that we have nothing except what you give. You have given so much, not least your only Son. Give us the gift of dazzlement and awe, that we may rejoice in the part of our lives and keep you ultimate all the day long, relishing the wonder of your self-giving love. And all of God's people said, this morning, instead of a top 10 list like we have done in the past for the talk show that we are going to have and have some guests, I have a 2-minute video about being thankful. So let us take a moment and watch that.
I'm alive! I'm alive! Yeah? Yeah! Hey, Christine! You're here too! I love you!
I know.
Dad, what's happening?
Honey, the power works! It's coming, it goes on and off, whenever we want! We've got clean water! Oh, that's great, look at that! Ooh, I bet I know what this does! Rain down the glorious water! Shoes. Oh, what do we got here, guys? Food! I love food. What? A beef? You want to have work? This is awesome! Look, listen here. Feed? The what?
Jack, be careful!
Oh, I have a car! This is great! Did you guys see this?
Yeah, you have a car!
A car!
And don't forget your coffee.
You're the best.
So may we be thankful for all those little things. I especially like where you poke the hole in the coffee. So today we're going to have a little bit of a different setup, obviously, but we are going to talk about dinner theater. And as you can see, we put up some old posters from dinner theater, and we're going to talk about how that's been important and all the relation. And I'm sorry, my back's all to you today. It's happening the whole service. But we're going to talk about how dinner theater has affected the church and maybe reviving that. So with that, I would ask Betty Bird and the rest of the people to come up here and we can begin talking. And we're going to have Fred Bernhard, Allison, and Sam come up as well. Take your time, Fred. Can I offer anybody a Kleenex? Okay. Well, like I said, we have been talking, and you've seen in the bulletin about dinner theater and some auditions that are coming up. So we have a couple different perspectives from dinner theater, and we'll just talk and have a good time. So, there's a microphone next to you. Yes. So, Betty, if you want to introduce and what we're doing and the play and...
Good morning. Well, first I want to introduce the people who are on my committee. And we have Gloria Burns. If they're here, just go ahead and wave. I don't know if Gloria's here or not. Carrie Drees, Susie Keller, Pat McCarthy, and Stacy Van Horn, and Allison Klingler. So they are on the committee. I had talked to Gloria and had asked about dinner theater, and they did a survey. The survey that you did, was it August, I think?
Just make up a date. Okay,
it was August. I think it was Fair Week because there was hardly anybody here. So there was 45 yes to 33 no's and 3 that just did not know what was going on. So we thought it would be important to make a good decision and let everybody know what dinner theater is and give it one more try. So our committee has gotten together and talked about how we're going to revitalize it and make it simpler, because that was a lot of the what people said. They wanted it easier. So we're only going to do one weekend, and we have March 9th and 10th, and we'll have one dinner show and 2 matinees. That'll make it easier. We're cutting back on the dinner to make that easier. And what else was I supposed to talk about?
What is the play about?
Oh, the play,
that
yes.
Would help. I assume we're doing one.
Yes, we are. We have picked Just a Little Crazy. They had the committee before that had picked that one at one point, but then we didn't have dinner theater. We took a break. We took a 2-year break. So if you would like me to read what it's about, I can.
Can you do it in a funny voice?
Well, I can try. I don't know. Anyway, we'll do it serious. Nola goes back to her parents' home after a disagreement with her boyfriend, Quincy, to find some peace and quiet to sort through her problems. But what she finds instead is a circus of confusion. Her mother, Audrey, is dealing with repairs and redecoration of the house. Her father, Lawrence, refuses to help and escapes to work, and an energetic neighbor, Helen, helps watch over Aunt Maggie, Lawrence's somewhat vague sister who recently moved in after possibly poisoning her cat and her late husband. Between the hidden money that turns up missing and Quincy's arrival and bout with food poisoning, these lovable characters try to overcome the differences between the sexes and the generations to keep their relationships intact and Aunt Maggie out of trouble. Lighthearted, hilarious, and vastly entertaining. So that's what we are going with. It's a smaller cast, so we're hoping that we get enough people interested. And I think that's all that I was going to
And there's 6 people in the cast?
There's 6 people in the cast. So, is that what I was going to say?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, and since we're talking about, is it 1975 was the first dinner theater? 76? Okay, and it was 2 by 2? Yes. I assume it's about boats and animals. I don't know the story behind. No, I'm kidding. It's about Noah's Ark, people. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how dinner theater came here for those that are new and don't know the history there?
I just want you to understand that our first dinner theater was given a year before he was born. Which says something about my age, John. I don't know if I want to admit that or not. In 1975, Delbert and Louise Blickenstaff went to Sabina, Ohio, and witnessed a dinner theater there. And because Delbert had been involved in theater production at Versailles, he came to me one day in the office and said, "Fred, what would you think about doing dinner theater at Oakland?" He said, "Why do we need to go to Versailles or down to Sabina? Why can't we do that here? We have a lot of talent in this congregation." And so I gave that some prayerful thought, and out of that came 3 reasons why we decided to have dinner theater. Number 1, for the expression of talent within the congregation, of which there is many, many talents. Number 2, for fellowship and camaraderie between the congregation, because it helped us to work together remember, this was still in the old building, and so we had the dinner theater in that old sanctuary and the meals downstairs in the basement. And number 3, as a testimony to the community and inviting. And indeed, it has accomplished all 3 of those purposes, because we have people in this congregation today who are here because of our dinner theater. Thank you.
All right. Now, out of curiosity, how many people here have ever been in a play? Okay. Now, keep those hands up. How many of those people that don't have their hand up has helped with dinner theater and been like in the kitchen or... Okay. So if you look around, almost half the church, if not more, have been part of that. And we've been talking about with the visioning team too about relationship building and doing life together. And I know, Sam, you've been in helping with the food and getting all the desserts and everything. And I'm assuming there's some relationships and things that have come out of that.
Yeah, all the right answers Fred gave. I'm going to give you realist answers. You'll never see me up front here in a play, Betty, ever. So I kind of thought about this when Betty shared this opportunity with me, and I thought I had to do it because I remembered back, Betty, when I asked Frank if he would make a cherry pie, I think it was, for dinner theater. And I'm not so sure if that's when you all started dating, because I think Frank had Betty do his work for him. So why was I involved in dinner theater? Just for the fun of it. We first started, the only thing we did our first couple years was the gift class had to wash dishes. We had a lot of people that are pretty competitive, so our whole goal was to set a new worldwide record at Oakland for how quick we could get the dishes done. And we had a blast. There was stuff being thrown all over the kitchen with very little breakage of glass items. Cheap entertainment. Where else could I take Tony on a Friday and Saturday night and only spend enough money of what we donated for food? Great entertainment. Opportunity to work with others, of course. I'm a people pleaser, so when you have people like my cousin Nan Hoddle or Rochelle or Vonnie ask me or ask Tony and I to do these projects that we didn't know what we were getting into, what else could you say but yes.
How many of the little cheesecakes have you made?
Well, that was something. You can make 1,000 of those little cheesecakes in 3.5 hours if Ted doesn't eat most of them. And we also found out how many 16-inch pizza boxes it takes to store 1,000 of those cheesecakes. So about 4 hours.
1,000. They were good. Now, Allison, you're up here for a real particular reason, and that's just to show that dinner theater is not for older people, right?
Right. It's for everybody. It's a great way to be involved in the church, especially if you're new or younger and looking for a niche to sort of get yourself into, to fellowship with the older generation and really get your hands into outreach. I love it because I love seeing the community fellowship and laugh together. I think laughter is such a healing thing. So to be involved and to have the gratitude of seeing everybody else get involved, especially people our age, because even though this has been going on since 76, we want it to continue, and it's not going to continue unless our generation starts getting involved more. So I would love to see more younger people get involved because it really is a wonderful thing to be involved with. Now
with that, I know you have done many plays throughout the last 35 years. Are there any memorable moments or and I found a play that I know I wasn't born when this happened. And also you didn't know I was alive on some of these plays, but I did find one that you did one about my life. Did you guys know that?
Really?
Yeah, it's called God's Favorite. So I want to thank you for that. So are there any memorable moments? Because I know you were talking about there was a pig head in one of them.
Yeah, for Smoke on the Mountain, oh, never mind, Foxfire several years ago, there had to be a pig's head in it for some reason. So we had an actual pig's head that we kept in the freezer, and I was stage crew, so I'm the one that had to go and get the pig's head, and it just smelled so bad. I don't know how many things of Febreze that we used on it, but we would spray it down every night and haul it out of the freezer and then put it back. And
You'd spray the pig's head with Febreze.
Yeah.
There's a new commercial for you.
Another fun memory that I have for if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we had to have a singing fish on set, and that was a bad idea to begin with. I thought it was a bad idea because we would play it to add to the chaos of the scene, and one night we couldn't get it to shut off. So we just had to chuck it backstage and try to get the batteries out because it just wouldn't stop playing. So there are lots of laughs that go with dinner theater.
Yeah. Anyone else have a favorite play or favorite moment? And then I heard the biggest one was Sound of Music. That was the biggest production that was done here. So, Sam?
Of course, John, you know I'm all about food. So while the play was going on, we're out here doing food. So I'll share with you some of the food memories. Did you all know that we have a person in the congregation, even here today, that just craves chocolate pudding? We never had to worry about whether the chocolate pudding got cleaned up off the spatulas or any that was left over, because all you had to do was call on Carl Jones and he was there for us. Oh, I wasn't going to mention a name, but... And similarly, if you can say that word, tapioca was always taken care of by Susie. And did you know that you don't have to have a rolling pin to roll out pie dough? John Welch volunteered to make a pie for us. And he got through that process of whatever you do to make pie dough. Mom always took care of it. I don't know what she did. And he got ready to roll it out. He didn't have a rolling pin. But he was lucky to find another cylindrical item at his house that he was able to roll out pie dough with. There's no excuses to be able to find something to roll out pies with. So it was always a lot of fun. And then we found out what the real secret was on the pies that Darlene used in her pie dough to make it so special. And I won't mention it here in the sanctuary.
Do you have one?
No.
No? All of them, right? Is that the
Lots of them,
diplomatic?
Yes. I mean, I have sisters and, sons
Yeah.
just because of dinner theater. So.
And you were pregnant in one, I saw.
Yes, I was. I had triplets.
Triplet.
Yes, I had triplets. That was a brilliant thing with John Dillon, the director for that one. Through the whole play, they kept saying, "Oh, you're going to have twins." Like, no, I'm not going to. Well, then he said, when you go off to take your bow, I had to go out and pull my stuffing out, and then I had 3 little doll babies, and each person came out as we were taking a bow, and we had triplets, and people just went crazy over that one. It was like, yeah, that was a good one. So,
How are they doing today?
Oh, they're great.
We're having a good time and we're laughing, and that's the point. And we've been talking about, and this kind of even fits in with the visioning team, we've been talking about how we can enhance our relationships and our community here at the church. And again, this is another way where we can get together. One of the things that we talked about at the visioning team was doing life together and how we as a church travel with each other. And for almost 4 decades now, this church has been building relationships and reaching out and helping the community heal and laugh and have a good time with each other. So this is something that they would like you to consider again to see if this is something that Oakland can be a part of and we can have new generations take this over. So again, I just think we are blessed here at Oakland with the talent, with the community, with the selflessness of people, and we do great things. Last week, I know we had to sit here a little longer than we were used to, and we listened to Samuel Dolly talk about how blessed we are, and we take for granted that we live in communities the way we are, and that we can trust and help each other. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to explain that. Is there anything you would like them to know about auditions or anything like that?
Well, there's one thing before I get to
Okay.
that as you're talking about relationships, one thing that I thought would be good, I know there's some people that have done these jobs forever and ever, they don't want to do them anymore, but our young people just don't know how those jobs run. So I'm hoping that this year we get some of those people that have done it for years, but we pair them up with somebody younger that they can work together, and so next year the ones who don't want to do it anymore can just leave, or don't leave, but
Leave.
they don't have to leave.
You're done.
Yeah, out of here. But no, they can just take a break and the young people can take over. So that will form a relationship with them as well. So I'm just hoping that there's people out there that are willing to work with some of the other people, and those, I'm hoping that there's people out there that really want to try, just haven't tried it, like Pastor John here. I think he would be great in a play, don't you?
I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that for the auditions, which are December 2nd at 2 o'clock, we might bump them back to 3 because I've heard some people say that's a little, they can't come, but they want to try out. So we'll work with you. If you are interested in coming and trying out, please do so. If you've been in plays forever, there's some people back there. Yeah.
How many people, was anybody in here in the very first play, 1975? Oh,
Whoa, let's give
we
her a
got one.
hand.
All right.
Yay. Yeah. So we need 4 women, 2 men, and I think we can do that. I think hopefully there's some people out there that want to try, and it really is. It's a lot of fun because you do form these relationships, like Holden over there. He's my boy. He's been my boy since he was my boy in a play. So, you just form those relationships that last for a long time.
He was the favorite triplet you kept?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got rid of the other 2. Do you have anything else you want to? Nope. Anybody else have anything?
John, Janet stood, but I also want you to know that Dean, the tuba 2 was about Noah and the ark, and Dean played Noah, and Christine played his wife, and she was called Goldie, and to this day I still call her Goldie.
So they're not here today, so next week everyone's got to call her Goldie, right? Right. All right, she'll know what we're talking about? All right. But again, so March 9th and 10th, if you can put that down and let us know if this is something you're interested in, and December 2nd for the auditions. Yes. So anything else?
Yes. I have somebody, Heather, bless her heart, will babysit. If you are younger and have young children, she will babysit that weekend. So if you want to help the 9th and 10th, we do have a babysitter this year. So that's a good thing.
Okay. So no excuses, right?
Right. No excuses. Just
All right.
give it a try, because I'll tell you, look at me. I'm sitting up here, and this is not my thing. So that's how passionate I am about this, to sit here and do this. Now, I've done plays because somebody writes the words for you. You can get out there and you can be somebody else. And I told John, I said, this is a safe place to do it because it's not like a huge production that everybody's expecting so much out of, but they're half asleep by the time they get here because they've eaten so much. So this is a good, safe place to try to be in a play if you ever have thought about performing. So please come out and see us.
All right. Well, why don't we thank them for sharing, and you guys can sit down. So thank you.